All right, we are back in Studio K, and as I previously said, I'm joined by Pat Keen's Bug Band.
Hello. It is
Hello.
me, Pat.
Yeah, and who are you here
This
with?
is Dexter Wolf. Dexter mixed the record. Shane Leonard played drums
Lovely.
on this performance. And Zach Warpinski played pedal steel as well as bass.
Amazing.
And Dexter played Prophet and guitar and bass.
Sweet.
Another guitar.
And what do you play?
I play guitar, but I played I play a couple guitars, but I played everything on the record and wrote everything, and yeah, pretty
Sweet.
much. I mean, there's some other help. Dex helped a lot too with the record. He mixed it, so did some production on it as well. So
Cool. And we just heard Waist High, A Dance with Wheeler, Nambe, and Hopper.
it's true.
Correct.
Yes.
All right. All tracks from your recent release that came out in June of this past year.
Yeah. Wow, it's been that long. Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Aptly titled I Saw a Bug.
Yeah.
And speaking of bugs, just to get us like a little bit warmed up, if you were a bug, what sort of bug would you be? It's a tough one.
A lot of people ask me bug-related questions about this record.
Well,
and
naturally.
Yeah. I don't have like a knowledge of bugs. I'm more of a bird guy. But
But just any bug.
I think fireflies are really rad. But also the green ones that like get on, I don't know, that you get on your skin when you're sitting in grass, whatever those ones are.
Like the little tiny
Are
ones?
those aphids?
Yeah.
See, this
Yeah.
is why I'm.
No, I
This
don't
is
know
what I'm talking
anything
about.
about
I always
bugs though either.
Yeah, I always do this. I'm like, I don't know stuff about bugs, and I try to talk about them.
Well, sweet. And of course, sort of, and maybe this is just like confirmation bias, but when I was looking at the names of the songs, I was like, wait, are these nature related or am I just deciding that because of the name of the
Yeah.
album? But then I found out that a few of the songs were written when you were on a farm.
Yeah, I in like 2020, I think it was 2021. I went out and just decided to get out of town for like a month and a half, and I've always loved the New Mexico area, like especially Santa Fe, Taos. I've just always had a great connection to that land, and always just felt really good out there. And so I don't know. I think after the pandemic and some things were going on, so I was like, I'm gonna just get out of town, and I brought some gear and a recording interface and worked on music there. And I rented a Airbnb that ended up being resulting in like a close friendship with the people that owned it.
Oh, cool.
But they have it's like a farm, and then they have a little like sort of guest house
Sweet.
on their
I see.
farm. And so yeah, I like went walking with the dude Ed, who was one of the owners there. He's an older guy. We went walking with this dog that I think the dog's name was Bacon, and we would do hikes in the morning together, just like up the mountain that was right behind this farm, and then in the rest of the day would kind of be spent recording. I would always hike in the morning and then record into, however long I wanted. And that's where a lot of the names of the tracks came from, was just like that day, whatever day I was working on something, it would come time to save the file. And I'd
Yeah.
be like, what did I see today? And I'd just pick one thing and not think about it too hard, just because
Yeah.
names are always like, I don't know, I call them like band name black holes
Yeah.
or song name black holes or whatever,
Yeah.
where you could just
You
like
get
think about it
stuck.
until you're blue
Yeah.
in the face. But
yeah.
yeah. So that's kind of just the way things came together. And I Saw a Bug, I thought, was the strongest title, because I literally saw a bug on a
It's
hike that
true,
morning.
yeah.
And then bada bing, bada boom, here we are.
It's
you
very
know.
true to life.
Yeah.
You know what you see. So speaking of recording the album, so did you take those demos like back with you and then re-record them, or like what
No,
was that
they-
process like?
I mean, I didn't only record it in New Mexico.
Okay.
I started it when I was here in my old studio. And yeah, then like my goal when I went to New Mexico was to get a lot of it done.
Sure.
And I still didn't get all of it done.
Yeah.
And I worked on some of it when I lived in LA for a little bit, and then I worked on more here I probably was recording it over the course of, I don't know, like 2-3 years, because I tour a lot. I do other music stuff. I play in a band called Humbird, and that keeps me really busy. So it's kind of whenever I could get time to work on it. And then, and then I passed it over to Dex, who did some real massaging of things, because I was using an interface that wasn't as good as I have now, and that I've gone down the rabbit hole of recording, and Dex had to do some corrective work to it for sure, but it worked out great. Like, I mean, he made it sound very magical. So.
Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah.
And did you get to experiment with any gear or new instruments when you were recording the album?
Yeah, that was the first time. It was the first time that I was recording drums on my own, really. You know, I just put one mic over my head for the whole thing. So that was like a really fun thing to be like, I can just do this. And Dex was like, yeah, you can just do this. Here's the mic you should get. And so that was really cool and liberating to just be able to feel like I was recording drums on my own. And I think they ended up being replaced with some samples on the recording because of the sounds and stuff. But, but yeah, that was cool. And then I think that was the first time I had recorded what's called the strum stick, which is an instrument that was used on, a lot of people think it's a banjo, but it was made in I think the 70s or 80s to be a really easy instrument for people to play chords on.
Yeah.
It's like you can only play diatonic scales on it. And so yeah, that was part of it too. And being able to record that for the first time was cool.
Yeah, absolutely. I personally like all the twangy stuff. This was my inaugural pedal steel experience as the host, so that was really exciting for me.
Yeah, I didn't do the pedal steel. I was my buddy Ben Lester, who lives in Eau Claire. That's where I'm from. That's where Shane's from. Where kind of my music thing started.
Yeah. Well, and speaking of which, how did this sort of iteration of the band come together? All of these lovely people you have in the room with you.
Oh, man. Well, I've known Dex for, I don't know, 15, 20 years almost, something around there. Shane was actually my TA, like in middle school English class. He was in college at that point. And then we ended up working on music later together. And Shane's worked a lot on the Humbird stuff. And so we have a relationship from that. Zach and I, this is all like high school stuff, honestly. Like Zach's a wonderful, I'm mostly a bass player. That's my main instrument. Zach's also a great bass player and pedal steel player. But we were both doing like high school jazz competitions against each other. Like growing up, and so that's how we met, great. And then we ended up running into each other. And then he plays in a good buddy's band who I play ping pong with, and
of
things
course,
just come together.
Just things like that.
But, Zach and I actually have a really cool album that is going to come out at some point soon. It's like upright
exciting.
bass and pedal steel.
Cool
stuff. So yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah,
I can't wait. If you had to describe the album using 3 colors, what would said colors be?
Well, I really think that the cover came together wonderfully. It's this guy, Ian. I am so sorry, Ian. I can't remember your last name right now, but you did a great job. And the colors of it are like this kind of like lighter olive, like a little brighter than olive green, and then yellow, which is my favorite color, and then blue, which is like kind of the backdrop of the photo on the record. Like sky, kind of desert sky blue.
Yeah.
So yeah, those are, I think they're just like represented right there.
Yeah, I agree. It's always funny when I ask that question and it, like the answer will come just like straight from the album or something, but people haven't necessarily thought about it and like, oh yeah, these 3 colors specifically, but it often just like serendipitously turns out that way, which I think is so cool. If you had to pick the perfect time of day to recommend people to give an album a listen straight through, what would that time be?
I feel like a lot of people have told me that it's a breakfast time record. Mm-hmm. Maybe it was you, Shane. But Dex, what do you think? Huh?
Wow, thank you. I'd love to be featured.
What?
I think it's honestly a great kind of any time of the day. Anytime it's more so just like a mood situation, you know? Like when you're just trying to like relax and do I don't know, miscellaneous things around the house.
Yeah.
Or just like
Cleaning record.
yeah, great clean like, you know, run the vacuum, ignore the music.
Homework.
Run the vacuum really loud so you can't hear any of the music.
Yeah,
please.
it's just sort of like an undertone. Well, especially when you were playing A Dance with Wheeler, I got this sort of like loungy or like library type thing, which I'm sure people say, but like I mean, especially like library, and I'm doing air quotes for the people listening, but
right.
I don't know. I feel like it's at first when
Library lounge.
when I came up with the question for time of day, that was my intuition too, was to say the morning. But I was like, you know what? I feel like if you're just cracking open a book at night, this is perfect.
That was the vision too. Like I had, I wrote I have songwriter albums out, and in the pandemic I released one, and it was cool. It ended up being coinciding with George Floyd, like the same exact day that it happened. I released the first single, and I was like, I probably shouldn't be. I don't know. I like almost pulled the plug, but the PR company was like, no, you should. You should still do this. And I was like, I'm like, I shouldn't be saying. People don't care about my feelings at this point. You know what I mean? And so then and this was kind of the whole impetus for this record was just like to have fun making music and not have to think about the lyrical aspects of things.
Yeah.
And so it was like, it allowed me to have more like fun and joy with the sounds and selections of the process.
Yeah, for sure.
That way, I don't know.
Yeah.
You're like not worried about getting in the way or picking a synth sound too dorky for the song.
Yeah. Well, and I know that you have a background in jazz performance.
Yeah.
And so, I was wondering, I mean, I'm sure you get asked this, but like sort of how that training informs your songwriting, but also if you ever feel like you struggle to be like, I don't want to lean on that side of my knowledge too much.
Great question. Yeah, I think there was this St. Vincent quote. I think she said that the day you start making good music is the day you forget everything you learned in music school. Which that resonated with me then. I think it's layered.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
I tend, when I write, I tend to not think about theory or things like that. I just use my ear and mess around with sounds and stuff. But also, I think that there's a deep beauty in simplistic songwriting. Like, I can't tap into whatever it was that, like, John Prine or Grateful Dead or, like, just, like, great American songwriters, Joni Mitchell, whatever. Like, all of that stuff that's just, like, 3 or 4 chords for an entire artist's career, and they have, like, memorable melodies and hits and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like, it's mind-blowing to me. So, and I think that comes from very much not music school.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, at the same time, I think this was an exercise too in trying to be a little more simple with things, like, and use less of that kind of theory brain. I mean, there's still some complexities. There's all these hitches. I mean, these guys know from playing the music. There's some like bars of 5 that I didn't even know existed because I didn't think about it as a bar of 5. I just used my ear or whatever, you know?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I could talk about that for a long time.
Yeah.
I'll stop now.
Like you said, it's layered, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, before we go, everybody's favorite question, which is you get to build a bill with 3 other groups, including yourself.
Whoa.
Who are you playing with and why? And
Wow.
this can transcend space and time. You can get a band back together.
Whoa.
You can bring people back from the dead if you want. And also, where are you playing? The world is your oyster.
I mean, yeah. I mean, I feel like I would get. I would definitely have Arthur Russell on my bill. He's just, he's the best.
Yeah, what I wouldn't do.
I would probably resurrect Jerry Garcia.
Of course.
Because he's the best.
Yeah, that's true. They're all the best.
Yeah, I would probably
Everyone can
I'd bring
be the
everyone
best.
back, and there wouldn't be any drama anymore, and it would be 1972.
It'd be beautiful. Yeah.
It'd be 1972, perhaps in Europe. We'd
Okay,
all be there. Arthur
okay.
Russell, me, the Dead.
Yeah.
And then this is so hard.
I know.
But like, I don't know, Ahmad Jamal.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
I would love that. I would be there.
But also, I think that my dream bill is actually happening at Ice House on Sunday.
What? This is exciting news.
Yeah. And it's my band, the Bug Band, with the band Hour from Philly. And it's going to be a great show. So you should come.
Well, any other exciting things coming up besides that show? Any other shows in your future?
Yeah, we're actually going to Eau Claire and playing a record store.
Cool.
And that'll be fun too. So, yeah.
Amazing.
We're excited to be doing this little mini tour thing. This is the first stop. Really.
Yeah, for sure.
We're touring Minneapolis.
I'm honored. I'm honored to be the first stop.
Yeah, we'll have more. There'll be more in the world for sure.
Cool. Well, thank you so much for joining me. Thanks for coming in
great
and
questions.
playing.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.